Okay, folks, we are going to continue our efforts here with the martial powers. Give me a second here to check all my bits to make sure we've got stuff up and running. Videos equals videos. Okay, cool. Sounds like that's good. If you check while I'm getting geared up here, again, liking and subscribing, immensely helpful for me to be able to continue growing, and it is very much appreciated. If you check the link below, there is my Twitter, which I have just posted that I've gone live. So if you aren't already following me, then certainly be welcome to do so you can get notification for when I am active. And I'm just punching. Most of you guys probably know me from Discord channels where I hang out and talk shop with people. So if you know me online through Discords, I am currently just posting that I've gone live as well, and just give me another like 5 seconds, and then we'll get into today's session. So obviously, that you can see on the link there on screen is the bundle of color mana spell point variant rules that I've created. Those are all free to view on the DMsGuild. You can check in the link down below just to get an idea of the kind of work that I put out. Let's see. Deet. Looks like I've gotten done with all that stuff, so I'm going to attempt this. CPS there. Let's. What does this do? Okay, I think that's what we're supposed to be doing. Hopefully this will turn out right. I've been fiddling with my layout and stuff. I need to build a template, like window, chat, window to view, like that should be what I do, and eventually maybe I'll get professional enough to do that. But right now I'm just trying to hammer out stuff. So let's get back into martial powers. So the past few sessions, we've been working on the magic paradigms, the 5-color mana paradigm, as well as the 4-element paradigm. Currently in the playtest document, which is in the Patreon link down below. You don't have to be a patron to access this content, but your support is certainly appreciated. It's just I'm just using my Patreon as a landing page for people to check out the stuff that I'm doing. So having said that, we've been working on the paradigms here on page 36 of the 41-page document in the DM section. We've been talking about limiting power. So until now, the way that we've been looking at all of the mechanics in martial powers has been kind of like a Way of the Four Elements monk, in that you have a list of disciplines that you choose the ones that you want. You have access to them, your mana or key points or fury points or whatever. It's just universal. It's just a spell point, basically, and you can spend it on whatever your character has access to, like a monk. Just you spend the points, you do the thing, and then you take your rest, probably a long rest, and depending on what kind of class you have, and then you get back your mana, and then you spend it again. The idea with magic paradigms is that so there's 5 disciplines, right? The exploits, the maneuvers, the reactions, the strikes, and the sustained powers. There's 5 different types or disciplines of power, and the idea is that each class, if the way that you can do it is that it's just universal. You just pick from any selection of disciplines in any combination, and you get, and there you go, you have them. And you can use them as you wish. The idea of limiting power that we are introducing in the DM section of this document is approaching it. It's approaching it as a means of curbing the flexibility of it. If you want to limit, again, like a barbarian would have access to maneuvers and strikes specifically. Those are you can access everything It's just maneuvers and strikes are easy for the barbarian to learn. It's easy for fighters to learn reactions and strikes. It's easy for monks to learn maneuvers and sustained powers, etc., etc., etc. You have access to all of them. But if a barbarian wants to, like, say, learn a reaction, a sustained power, or an exploit, they have to spend 2 lessons instead of 1. And over the course of your character, you get 25 powers, which is about double what like say a fighter would get. Like an Eldritch Knight would get 13, and a Ranger would get 15. I'm wondering, the original idea here was that you'd have 2 disciplines that each class is good at, but as you multi-class, you gain access to more and more disciplines that would be easy to use. And the original thought was that you would have 2 that you're good with and 3 that you're weak at, and you could either just choose which 2 you're good with and the other 3 just default to being weak. Or you could have you could, like, say, using elemental magic, you could choose 2 elements that you're good with, and you could assign those 2 primary disciplines to the element that you want to be strong with. And then if you want to use other disciplines, they're weak. But that is proving to be really complicated. Like, I love, like if I want to play like if I'm using, this is all built off of MTG, right? And in spellcasting MTG, each spell has a different color assigned to it automatically using the rules of Magic the Gathering. But this martial power system was designed to be more flexible with this generic key cost, and then just using color or elements as a narrative element that feeds into it. And I'm wondering if that's proving to be too complicated, and I think it is. So I'm going to have to kill that baby, and boy, I really love that. But the idea then would be that you would pick the element that you like, or you would pick a color that you like, and that would be the narrative color, or the power narrative that you would use when you're using all these different powers. I could instead trim this list down to 15 instead of 25, and then everything costs the same to learn, which reduces the mechanical complexity of it, but it also reduces the nuance. So with less what's the way I worded this stuff? Hold on, I wanna poke at my screen here. There we go. So I built, okay, so the original design was to make a common spell point cost across all levels, like 1 to 5 costs 1 to 5 points, and like for full caster 9 levels 1 to 9. The spell casting system is incredibly effective and works well. This system has less constraints. The only constraints are the ones that you choose to put on it. And the difficulty I'm finding is how to explain that freedom of choice, but you're still making choices. And if you don't want to use a magic paradigm, if you just want to go with generic key or generic spell points like 5e assumes, and leave all that stuff to be strictly narrative, then there's no need to define what type of damage each energy type. Like, for example, if white, blue, black, red, green is going to remain narrative only, it's not really important to spell out that acid damage is coming from black and green magic. Because if you have 20 key points and you can spend them on anything, then what would end up happening is, like, if you're going to do a strike or something, then the damage is already set for you with the power that you're using. But the idea was that if you're only throwing around white magic while you're using these powers, like getting down into here, the exploits, it really doesn't matter. There is no damage type associated with exploits. There is no damage type associated with maneuvers specifically. Some maneuvers can deal damage, and those maneuvers would have a damage type associated with them, like choose a number of creatures within 30 feet equal to your channeling ability score. Each target makes a strength check or is pulled 5 feet. Lethargy. No move bonus. Let's check through these. Let's look through these maneuvers and see how much is actually dealing damage. Because the assumption was when I built these things that you would be assigning a damage type to the maneuver based on the type of spell point you're using. If it was a fire, if it's fire magic that you're using, then you would be dealing a damage type associated with fire. So it could just simply be that you're just picking a primary color, which would be the damage options that you have, and then you can have and then everything else is secondary. That might be the simplest way to do it. It's just you set a primary color or you set a primary element that you use, and so all the damage types that you deal are now going to be assigned to that type of damage or that paradigm. So I'm just going to check through these things real quick to see what sort of things are causing damage and which aren't. Rolling 1 power die per mana channel. You can empower a target reaction to make an attack roll. Okay, that's an attack roll. Move action, flatten. Yeah, here we go. Oh, but it's stating as force damage. So rally, swift resuscitation, overrun. Way to take 1 power die of damage, either weapon or type of mana. There it is. So maybe I just need to limit your characters to a primary mana, like a primary aspect of magic, one of the elements or one of the colors, and that becomes your primary element. That might be the most effective way of doing it. Let's go look at the list again. Like if you were going to play a Boros character, they have white and red magic, right? So if you pick red as your primary element, you would always be able to do fire force, lightning, or thunder damage when you deal damage to somebody. If you picked white as your primary element, you would always be able to deal cold, force, psychic, or radiant damage. And Boros, I would say, is decidedly more red in its damage than white. So maybe we would need to spell out maybe spell out what your priority is. Like Azorius is white and blue magic. It's got a ton of overlap, but white makes more sense for Azorius damage than blue does, for instance. So maybe white is your primary. But what about, say, Orzhov? So okay, let's do this then. Azorius, Boros, Dimir, Zet, G-H-I, wait, Golgari, Gruul, Izzet, Orzhov, Rakdos, Selesnya, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. So let's go with Ravnica Guild. I think Azorius is decidedly white as their primary color, because force, psychic, and radiant damage makes a lot more sense than thunder, I guess. Doesn't really make much of a difference. Red, primary. fine. Ravnica Guild, white, and blue. Bull. Let's look at Dimir. Black and blue is what they've got. Black and blue, black and blue, black and blue. Gari is black and green. Green, 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 green. Yeesh. Blue and red. Orzhov is white, black, black and red, white, green. Yeah, I can't decide. I can't choose which way you want to express your character. Like a Dimir blue black, you could do yeah. Ravnica Guild, let's see. Strixhaven School. Colors. Prismari is Lorehold, Prismari, Witherbloom, that would be last. PQ Quandrix, and what's the what's the other one? Let's look at it again. Da, da, da. Jeez, I don't care about any of that. That was a waste. Silver Quill, God, thank you. Could not remember that name for the life of me. Colleges. Blue red, Quandrix is blue green. black, black, green. Red, red, white, white, blue, blue, red, red, black, black, green, green. Pretty well balanced. Digging it. Theros gods. Color. It would certainly be a lot simpler to leave it all I mean, I could bond a narrative to it and just force it into elemental, or I don't want to go with color because that's really audience exclusionary. I don't like. I want to introduce these paradigms because I want this system to mesh with the color magic paradigm that I already have all these books for. This allows you to have the same color language for all 13, but at the same time, I'm introducing a whole new system, and then I'm introducing a system of restrictions on top of it, and I don't know if that's the right way to do it. I mean, I get it in my mind, but just getting people on board and seeing, like, it's a limit of power. You're specifically stripping power away from the characters so that they can have a specific narrative behind them, and then I'm trying to reward them for making that narrative decision by granting them all sorts of different damage types to associate with the aspects of magic that they chose in the paradigm that they want. So that's asking your characters to first use this system and then choose a paradigm and then choose one of the aspects from that paradigm and then select powers from the list to fill into that paradigm. And that, I think that might be asking too much. I would have to... What I could do is I could go through all the powers and assign each of them a default color or like a default element. And if you wanted to change because that's how the spell system works in all the stuff that's linked down below in the DMsGuild. All those spells are assigned to one or more different colors, and in like the elemental keybook that's linked down below, all the way the 4 elements are devoted to one or more disciplines, one or more elements, but it's very contained on purpose. The narrative is already narrow, and we're just using these different these different magic paradigms to create new flavor and open up options beyond what those classes already normally provide. This is going the opposite direction. It's providing a lot of new mechanics, and we are attempting to limit your access to them, which I think is the default limit that would be involved with this sort of a system would be how many you get, like 13, for instance, or like a ranger gets 15 or whatever. That's a reasonable limit of power to impose. I don't like the idea of assigning, because different paradigms have different numbers of aspects. Like there's 5 colors, but there's only 4 elements. There's only three aspects, like say body, mind, and spirit. Those are only there's only 3 aspects. Light and shadow is only 2 aspects in a paradigm of, like, say, life and death. There's positive and negative energy. So it's supposed to be flexible so that you can create any paradigm that you want to express how you're using martial powers. Maybe, yeah. I might have to. Oh God. I think I have to recant that. Two, 3, 4, 5. Let's go 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 10, 11, 11, 12. Man, I really want to have that mechanical complexity, but I think it's just I think it's too complicated. And I think it's okay just to leave things like I can leave things narrative and say, like, you know, here's what is suggested, what types of damage go with each aspect of magic. Sorry, I got an email here. I gotta resolve real quick. Meet. Huh, okay. Let's see. I am assigning a thing. Perfect. Okay, cool. Let's see. Let's see. Okay, so well, maybe we don't need if we get rid of if we get rid of those disciplines by class, that removes the complication of multi-classing. So let's remove that. Magic paradigms. Tools for DMs using martial powers in your campaign. Creatures using power. Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to. Yeah, I'm gonna have to drop almost all of this. Okay, so if it's so suggested. narrative tool. While any power can... there we go. When using a magic paradigm, each point of mana is assigned a specific I might have to end up just rewriting these things. For example, you can element paradigm, for element paradigm, you can choose to devote all mana to fire, or you can voted. When using the 4-element paradigm, if you want to narrate your character as wielding fire magic, you devote your mana to fire. When using the 5 color paradigm, if you want to narrate your character as a member of the Boros Guild, you will devote devote your mana to white or red. Maybe I should be devoting each guild, college, and god to specific damage types instead of a universal color type that each would just naturally fit into. But that's also restrictive, and it doesn't take into consideration things like Mirrodin or Zendikar or anything else, like, you know, Kamigawa, anything else that comes along that doesn't necessarily subscribe to these specific guilds and schools. I like the idea of it just having a universal magic. I like where this is going, though. I like this. I like that it's more of a narrative bend. You can pick anything that you want. Then you pick the colors that you have each one of them go to. Okay, so what that means, if we're going to decouple the paradigm like that, that means that we have to make sure that all of the powers have a default damage type associated with them that can be overridden if you choose with a paradigm. So I like doing that. I like that idea. So okay, great. Let's just do that. That certainly makes the world easier in general. So that's what we are going to just. That is what we are going to go ahead and do. How are we looking here? Looking good. All right, cool. So let's go through. Precise mana. So yeah, let's look for things that deal damage and make sure we have a damage type assigned to them. Charge, cliffhanger. I like that language better, while. While using, while making an ability check with the that can use with the while making an ability check with the intimidate, performance, or persuasion skill. Yeah. While making an ability check that can use the intimidate, persuade, performance, or persuasion skill. Okay. maybe win is the proper way of doing that. I'm just gonna take that all back. Nee, 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 nee. Okay. Okay, President's Far Shot, Field Medic, Flash. When you move, when you make, ability check, ability check, ability check, saving throw, ability check, tools, ability check, ability check, ability check, help action, dash action, attack roll, movement, opportunity attack, saving throw, ability check, object interaction, bonus action to channel maneuver. Maneuvers are probably going to be okay. So let's see. Make an attack with the weapon you're holding. You can empower a target within 30 feet to use their reaction to make an attack, rolling 1 power die per mana channeled, adding the highest result to the ally's attack against a target you and an ally can both see. Power target ally 30 feet, reaction, move action. 30 feet, cost save, fail equals no reaction. Flatten, choose 1 PD per damage. Force damage is set, that's good. Rally, 30 feet, temporary hit points. 1 power die roll for each point of mana burned. Stabilize. For each mana burned. Creatures move through this way take 1 power die of damage, either a weapon damage, to score, strength save, pushed. Power die of weapon damage. Choose a creature, size large, fails wisdom save, it lifts off the ground. Vanish, become invisible. I like the idea of you buying down the cost, though. I'm thinking, yeah, okay, let's just keep on keeping on. Goad, lethargy, no move. 5 feet, phase, pack tactics, double strike, flicker pounce, TK bubble. Paralyze, sleeper hold, power die of weapon damage. You curse a creature that you can see to reduce the result of all attack rolls by the highest roll of 1 power die per mana burn. Highest roll of 1 power die per mana burned. The creature can make an intelligence saving throw at the beginning of each of its turns, ending the effect when it succeeds. Curse a creature, ability checks, disadvantage. Saving throws, power disadvantage. Maybe the tear or okay. Consider. Control full, deflection, double strike. Double take, evasive footwork, feint, interpose, light foot, overbearing, parry. Ability check, reaction, attack roll, reaction, Iron Will, TK barrier, countering attack. First strike, I don't think any of these are directly damaging spells. Yep, nope. Exposure, puppet, inker, revival, strikes. All the strikes already have a damage type associated with them. Sustain, let's see if there's anything in the crafting stance. Power armor, power shield. It's going to be 13, 17, 18, 19. Okay. Power shield. Quick assessment, range assault. Lock, close quarter. Cloud Strider, Trap Springer, Vigilance. Take 1 power dime. Giant growth. First blockade. Haste. Any round you end within an object, okay? Strike, Ultra Reality. I think we got those all resolved. I need to integrate that. I need to integrate that stuff. I will do that. Hey, Tyler, man. I am picking through the. I'm looking to see the powers here, like where there's damage types per power die. So the looking, if you look back to the game here, I've been struggling. The Magic Paradigm system, the way that I envision it's too complicated. It's not going to jive with the market. So I have to lighten the mechanical restrictions on what different aspects of Magic can do. So I have to make, so the system has to remain flexible, and I have to kind of relegate magic paradigms to be more of a narrative flavor to the mana that you're spending, the powers that you're channeling, as opposed to having hard mechanics, because that is going to overcomplicate the system when it's not necessary. So we can have a narrative where you are choosing each of these, like if you're not using a magic paradigm at all, which is how 5e runs, it's just you're just spending points and you're doing this thing. There is no all these powers all have their own damage type associated with them. And then if you choose to use a magic paradigm, we would then have a list of suggested damage types that are associated with limiting yourself to that specific aspect of magic. So we've broken it down to elemental arcana and devotion labels. Yeah, I've got the color paradigm, which we already had determined from the 5-color mana system that we have already published. And here we're breaking down guilds, colleges, and eventually Theros gods as well. Then you got the elemental magic paradigm here, which we have broken down. There was some feedback from folks on Terra's Indestructible on the Designosphere, and there was a bit of debate over which damage type would go with each element. Some of the opinions were that this works. Others suggested swapping something here or there, like maybe necrotic damage could be water instead of earth, and like poison as earth instead of water, stuff like that. Pretty minimal arguments, and so nothing that's so strong as to make me think that this was a mistake. Like these are all good, and it's pretty well balanced. The only thing I don't, was there something? Yeah, I was pretty happy with all of these. Like to me, Radiant as fire makes a lot of sense. Necrotic as earth is like the only iffy one, but considering that necrosis is like breaking things down, that feels kind of earthy. But there was arguments for water and air, but not enough to break the whole deal. I mean, these are after all just suggestions. So. Too long. Yeah, exactly. So the problem that we were having with the system is that there is a ton of new mechanics that we're looking at just to do this thing in the first place. And then we're stacking on the idea of adding a magic paradigm, which is take all this that you've just learned, and now let's learn at how you limit using it, which isn't necessary. So the idea right now is if you want to play a character using martial power, and if you want to devote your magic to, say, fire magic, instead of dealing weapon damage or the default damage that goes along with any of the powers that you may be using, you could instead use these 4 damage types all the time. Radiant, Lightning, Force, Fire. And obviously there's some are better than others because there is an inconsistency of how many creatures have immunity to, say, like fire versus lightning, for instance. So I've actually just about hit my hour mark, so I don't actually have any extra time left. So I'm gonna have to kick out of here in a minute. But it looks like the ultimate conclusion that we're coming to here is that instead of forcing people to bond themselves to a specific aspect of magic, it just remains narrative, and granting characters the ability to deal specific types of damage compared to full spellcasters is in no way unbalancing. Like it doesn't break the game for a water channeler to always be able to deal acid, cold, poison, or psychic damage. Psychic damage is obviously the general winner here from the selection of options that water has. But if we're going to drop it down to purely narrative, maybe we don't need to include psychic and radiant and necrotic, like those 1, 2, 3, 4, like psychic, radiant, and necrotic damage are probably the 3 damage types I could remove overall. That would still, I'm gonna get rid of that. I'm on raw. Let's see. So if I get, let's do that. Let's see where we're at. Earth, water. Got 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Air has a unique. Earth does not have a unique. Oh yeah, air doesn't have a unique. Earth doesn't have a unique. Fire and water both have a unique, but they're also the weakest unique damage types possible in the game. Has more things are immune to fire and poison damage than anything else. So this might actually, you know what, Daryl, Drunken Yoda was the one that called out that maybe Radiant Necrotic doesn't need to be associated with elemental damage at all. And honestly, I think I'm kind of on board with him now. So this would give each, I think I'm okay with this. So I think I'm okay with that. There's an expression in the design industry called "drown your or kill your darlings," which is when there's an idea that you absolutely love and it absolutely does not work. You have to get rid of it, otherwise the project itself is compromised. And I think this is a good example. Yeah, psychic, radiant, and necrotic damage. I think those can realistically not be labeled as an elemental damage type, but we could probably safely keep all of these. So I think that's what I'm going to do. So if you're choosing to be a fire channeler, I guess I can't say bender. So if you're choosing to channel fire, you would have the option between fire, force, and lightning damage. If you're going to channel earth magic, you'd have the option between acid, force, and thunder damage. If you're going to channel air magic, then you're going to have a choice between cold, lightning, and thunder damage. Water as acid, cold, and poison, and fire as fire, force, lightning. I think that works. I think that makes sense. And we still have the good old color. I'm gonna shift the color magic paradigm behind the elemental paradigm, because I think people resonate with elemental magic more than color. I mean, I love color magic, obviously, but I think more people jive with elemental magic and color. So I think I'm gonna put that first. But yeah, mad shout out to Drunken Yoda for being the guiding light on that one. So get rid of those rows. I'm going to get rid of this row. Yeah, I think I'm okay with that. So I know you came in late, buddy, and sorry for the short shifting on you, but yeah, I gotta go. I got the rest of my day to do, but I'm going to be back this evening. I'm going to be working on the Eberron Adventure mapping. I'm going to be working on the flooded fortress, connecting to the underground bunker. So I'm going to I'll be back in 5 hours. I will be back for a couple hours to just do some more map design work. So that's all I have for now. Like, subscribe. Wouldn't Necro Radiant be plants and swamps? Psychic is mountain and water. Could be. Certainly could be. But I think I like limiting the color palette. I think I like limiting the palette to only 7 damage types and just dropping those other 2. I think you can make a strong argument. Necro Radiant. Wouldn't Necro and Radiant be plains and swamps and Psychic be mountains and water? Let's since you're asking. Color magic. Looking at Radiant. I don't know why Radiant would be swamp. Black magic. That doesn't. I don't see that jiving. Necro being black, obviously yes. And then Radiant being white, yes. I think that's what you're trying to say. And then Psychic being mountain and water. There's virtually no magic cards. Well, I don't know. There's a lot of emotional stuff involving red magic. Psychic, white, blue, black. There's a lot of psychic stuff. Like Dimir is just coded in psychic type language for its black magic and blue magic. I think you could probably make a case for red being psychic damage because of the emotional stuff involved with it. I think that's a viable argument. But I wanted to set it so that each color has 4. So that was a mechanical constraint that I had constructed, which you can, obviously see demonstrated here. So that was, I could see you going with red for psychic, but I mean, you could pick a power that deals psychic damage, like, and then using red mana, you could still do, like, say, Phase Strike. No, that's Radiant. Incapacitating Strike. Your damage increases by 1 power die per mana burned. Intimidating Strike. There you go, Provoking Strike. Your weapon deals psychic damage. You could, like, if you use Provoking Strike and you're using red mana, it would still be able to do psychic damage because the Provoking Strike itself deals psychic damage. But with the current format, I mean, the DM could always decide that red for psychic makes sense, but with the current paradigm as we have it built, it is not included. Though I could see an argument for why it would be. But I am at my time limit. It just planes. Yeah. I hear you, buddy. I gotta go though. I've got day job stuff I gotta get back to. So this is my lunch stream. So my lunch shift is over, and I gotta go back to the real world. But I'll be back in about a little less than 5 hours to do some Eberron map artwork. So I'll catch you guys then, and I gotta bail. Catch you all later.